All right, let's talk. Because what I saw from Shedeur Sanders on day 3 of Brown's training camp, that wasn't just a solid outing. It wasn't just a, hey look, the rookie's developing kind of day. That was a turning point. Just for Shedeur, for the whole quarterback room, for the coaching staff, maybe even for this franchise. Because what Shedeur did in just 8 plays, it shook the ground under this whole QB. Competition, quietly, efficiently, without a single word of complaint. Now let me be very clear. Shedeur Sanders never came into this camp asking for a handout. He didn't walk into Berea demanding first team, reps leaning on his last name or trying to jump the line. He didn't throw his weight around or try to make headlines. He just put his head down and grinded. But the crazy part, that grind has been mostly buried under 4th string reps, limited snaps, broken protections, and receivers who, let's be honest, wouldn't be getting targets anywhere else in the league. That's what he's been working with. That's what he's had to overcome, and yet, he never said a word. He didn't make excuses when his O-line was getting bulldozed by 2nd string defenders. He didn't point fingers when his routes were off or when his receivers were actually just camp bodies and borrowed jerseys. He just kept showing up, locked in, focused, and then finally, the Browns gave him a clean look with the second team in a full-speed 11-11 period. And y'all, what we saw was exactly what we've been waiting for. So, please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. 8 plays, that's all it took. 8 reps. Completions, one of them a dart, a laser through the middle to tight end Blake Whiteheart that had the sideline buzzing. Buzzing. The energy changed, the body language changed. Coaches started leaning in a little closer. Teammates started nodding, like they were seeing something they weren't expecting, but I wasn't surprised. You weren't surprised? Because we've seen it before. At Jackson State, at Colorado. Under the lights, under pressure. When the doubters get loud, Shedeur gets louder, but not with his mouth, with his game. And here's the wild part. The throw wasn't even the most impressive thing. It was how calm he looked, how in control he was. The footwork, the reads, the timing, everything was just sharp. He wasn't reacting, it was dictating. And that's the difference between a guy trying to survive and a guy who knows exactly who he is. But I gotta ask this again, because nobody in that building wants to give us a straight answer. Why did it take this long? Why did it take 3 days of camp, multiple OTA sessions, and countless team reps for Shedeur Sanders to even sniff a real offensive unit? Why did he have to sit in the basement of the depth chart while other guys were getting every possible chance to shine? Joe Flacco. I respect the man. Super Bowl champ, seasoned vet, but he's not the future. Kenny Pickett? I've seen enough to know that ceiling is low. Dylan Gabriel? Come on now. That's not the guy you stash Shedeur behind, unless they're deliberately ignoring what's in front of you. So we have to talk about this, because the silence, it's not accidental anymore. It's deliberate. It's strategic. If we're being real, it feels political. Because Shedeur isn't just another rookie. He's not a generic 5th-round pick. He's a media figure. He's a cultural figure. He's Deion Sanders' son. And the league doesn't know what to do with that. Especially not when that spotlighted name is paired with genuine talent. Not hype, not flash, real quarterback play. Now look, I'm not going to dodge at those speeding tickets. They happened. They were dumb. 91 in Brunswick. 101 inches. Strongsville, not smart. And Andrew Barry said that. Called it reckless. Called it dangerous. And he was right. But you know what wasn't right? The way the media twisted it. The way they jumped on those stories like they finally had something on this kid. They didn't cover it, they weaponized it. Immature, responsible. Not ready for the league. Come on. Shedeur responded like a grown man. No excuses, no PR spin. He said, I learned my lesson. Don't speed anymore. End of story. But the vultures kept circling. And meanwhile, while they were dissecting his driving habits on sports talk shows, he was in Rainbow Terrace with fire victims bringing supplies, checking in on families. Not because the Browns asked him to, not because his agent set it up, because he felt called to do it. God put it on my heart, he said, and he did it, quietly. No camera crew, no Instagram captions, just a young man trying to help his new community. That's leadership. That's why I keep saying, if you're gonna judge this kid, judge all of it. Oh. Don't cherry pick a mistake and ignore the character. Don't ignore the tape. Don't ignore the work ethic that's so precise it borders on obsession, because Shedeur's not just studying tape, he's memorizing it. He's breaking down every single snap of every single practice, even when he's not in them. Got VR goggles simulating reps when the coaches won't give him live ones. He's scripting plays in his head before he ever takes the field. That's not QB3 behavior. That's not a backup's mindset. That's the mentality of a future starter. A real one. And what's most impressive? He's not angry. He's not bitter. And walking around like the world owes him something. He's just building. Quietly, deliberately, day by day. Conversation by conversation. Not just him connecting with defensive backs, not just his offense. Building bonds with the O-line, eating with rookies. calling out protections like he's already the captain. That stuff matters, so again I ask, how long are we going to pretend this isn't happening? Because Shedeur Sanders isn't waiting for a shot, he's making one. From scratch. Every single time he steps on the field, he makes it harder and harder to keep denying him. But what's wild? Kevin Stefanski hasn't said a word. Not publicly. Not about Shedeur's growth, not about his performance, not even about the obvious fact that the kid has outshined guys with triple the reps. Even Bill, Musgrove, who knows the Sanders family personally from way back, he's keeping quiet too. And at some point, that silence starts to feel like fear. Like the coaching staff doesn't want to shake up the order because it might force them to admit the rookie they barely played might be the best option they've got. But let me be real with you. Shedeur Sanders, he's not worried. He's not chasing clout. He's not looking to win the fan base. He's trying to earn that locker room. And guess what? He already has. Quietly, authentically, brick by brick. He's out there operating like a pro, making decisions like a vet. Stepping into throws, moving defenders with his eyes, anticipating windows before receivers even make their cuts, and still, no first-team reps. Not one. So here's the deal. Dillon Gabriel, rookie quarterback, third-round pick out of Oregon, just got suspended after a heated confrontation with none other than Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, that's Shedeur, Deion's son.
Yeah.
The one who's been catching all the headlines lately.
Now.
What started as just another day at camp suddenly spiraled into one of the biggest stories of the entire NFL preseason. We're talking full-blown altercation. Not just yelling, not just a disagreement. I mean, a physical clash right there. On the practice field with coaches, players, and media watching it all unfold. And in a matter of minutes, training got shut down. Kevin Stefanski stormed off the field without saying a word. And within the hour, every reporter in Cleveland was scrambling to confirm what they'd just heard. Dillon Gabriel was done. No timeline, no press release.
Yes.
Gone. So please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Now let me tell you, this didn't come out of nowhere. If you've been paying attention to Browns camp, the tension between Gabriel and Sanders had been bubbling for weeks, maybe even months. You could feel it in the air. It wasn't loud or obvious at first, but there were signs. Cold shoulders, no chemistry, weird press conference energy, and on social media, not a single interaction between the two. That's not normal. That's tension. Dillon Gabriel, from day one, was seen as the classic system guy. Quiet, methodical, knew the playbook, respected by the staff, mechanically clean, and emotionally steady. Wasn't flashy, but he was solid. He looked like a long-term project you could build around. But then, there's Shedeur. The 5th-round pick with the 1st-round spotlight, swagger turned all the way up, camera ready, and totally unbothered by the pressure. And let's be real, he's got the fan base on his side. He skipped Hollywood appearances to help locals during a fire crisis. That stuff sticks with people. So when those two worlds collided during red zone drills on July 22nd, it was never just about football. It was about identity, respect, power. One guy felt like his spot was slipping away, and the other felt disrespected. Boom, sparks flew. And just like that, Dillon Gabriel was out. What's crazy is just days before that meltdown, Gabriel was actually playing well. He was calm in the pocket, making good reads, throwing accurate balls. He wasn't some camp bust, but the pressure of being under the same spotlight as Shedeur, it was clearly wearing him down. You could see it in his body language. He looked like a guy walking on eggshells, constantly checking his shoulder, trying not to misstep. Meanwhile, Shedeur didn't flinch. He handled the situation like a veteran. No outbursts, no passive-aggressive drama. Just one cold, calculated message to the team. Competition is cool, but disrespect? That's a different game. And that line? It echoed. People heard it, players felt it, coaches noticed it. That was leadership. So let's look at the bigger picture. Because this situation, it exposed something deeper inside the Browns organization. I'm talking real division. You've got ownership who's eeling on Shedeur. They love his poise, his media image, the way he carries himself. He's marketable, dependable, charismatic, hits everything a franchise wants in a modern quarterback. Then you've got the coaching staff, some of whom were quietly rooting for Gabriel's slow and steady rise. That's not a minor rift. That's a full-on identity crisis. And guess who's caught in the middle? Joe! Flacco and Kenny Pickett, two vets who've been around long enough to know how fast a QB room can go sideways. And now they're surrounded by a war zone, trying to stay neutral while the rookies throw emotional haymakers. This wasn't just a one-time flare-up. This was the first big crack in what could become the Browns' biggest internal conflict of the season. I mean, just look at how it played out. Stefanski didn't hold a press conference. Didn't issue a soft public statement. The words were cold, straight to the point, conduct detrimental to the team, and no return date given. That's the NFL way of saying, we're not calling you, don't call us. Tss. Sighed the locker room silence, and not the good kind. I'm talking that tense, helmet-sitting kind of silence. Vets keeping their heads down, no one making eye contact, everyone waiting to see what comes next. Died. And you can't blame them now. If we look at this from Dylan Gabriel's point of view, it's tragic in a way. He came in with promise. He wasn't some 7th-round flyer, but the moment Shedeur was drafted 2 rounds later, everything changed. His window got smaller, his margin for error disappeared, and the pressure mounted. He probably didn't even see it happening until it was too late. And here's where it gets even crazier. This isn't even about who's better on the field anymore. It's about who this city and this franchise are willing to stand behind, and right now, that answer looks a lot like Shedeur Sanders. The fans love him. The ownership backs him. He's handling adversity like a seasoned pro, and after this incident, he just might have won the locker room. Like it or not, he's rising, and if Flacco stumbles, don't be surprised if Shedeur gets that call way earlier than anyone predicted. Gabriel's fate? Still unknown. He might come back quietly, he might get released, or he might end up in a different jersey altogether by week 1. But one thing is clear, the Browns' quarterback situation is far from settled. So if you've been keeping up with this madness like I have, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Because this story isn't even close to over. And you better believe I'll be here to break it all down, every snap, every scuffle, every twist in the tail. Stick with me, because Cleveland just got a whole lot more dramatic. Thanks for watching, and see you next one.